Welcome back to Open Source. We're here with Becca Brazil, one of the best brands in the business. Speaking of branding, what is the value of branding today?
Branding is super, super important. I think the thing is, it's like people think of branding as something that needs to be perfect at the beginning, right? They're like, oh, I need to create a brand and it needs to have the perfect logo and the perfect this, the perfect website. But first, you need to actually see if your business works. Like, can you actually make money with this, right? You are part of that branding. So just having a social media presence, it's not always the way that people view branding, in my opinion. Like it's not having the perfect everything at the beginning, spending a ton of money to make sure that you just look great. It's actually putting yourself out there. Does this business work? Does it make money first? Once you're making money, then you can invest in the correct branding, make sure that the logo looks great, make sure that the website looks great, and all of that. But nowadays, I feel like people they can invest a small amount in their website. Just have something to see if the business works first. And I've made that mistake trying to be perfect at the beginning, trying to have spend money on all the wrong things, and the business didn't go anywhere. So that's all I have to say about branding.
No, it's interesting, right? So it's like you really do approach branding like a business, right? Like it's like you have a business plan, and if you don't have a business plan, then you're just kind of like flopping around the water. Like you really have to be strategic. Okay, so let's say you have the plan and it's pretty strong. You're making some money. What are the smartest ways to build a brand?
Marketing.
Mm,
I think that if you don't have marketing dollars to spend or money for publicity, which if you're not a household name, then you need to figure out how to become one, to be honest. There are people who can be behind the scenes, but I feel like those people have money. They might already be able to have funding from somebody or they had money to begin with and they don't want to be seen. But if you don't have that, then you need to figure out how to be seen and how people can see you and find out about you. And then utilize marketing. So, what I always say is PR first. You need to like figure out how to get yourself out there. So, whether it's blowing up on social media, getting articles done about you, getting interviewed like this, getting on the news, utilizing that and then using it for marketing purposes. So then you invest in marketing. But when you're paying for marketing, people are like, who is this? Oh my God, she was on the news. Oh my God, she was on all these magazines. This woman's amazing. When they're seeing you, you're actually somebody on Google. You're not just marketing something random where people are like, oh, I've never heard of this person. I've never heard of this thing, right?
mhm. Okay, so this makes sense, right? So the publicity is part of the branding strategy, the way you see it, because that's people need to know who you are, right? So here's another question I have, right? So because obviously with Clubhouse, like, we were both pretty popular on Clubhouse, and there's different reasons for that. But you know, I always feel weird because it's like not everyone can kind of be a Becker Brazil, you know? So how does that work? Can anyone build a brand? Is it like you have to have certain qualities? Is it like you just have the right business plan? Like how does that interplay work?
Today, I feel like anybody can become a Becca Brazil, a Bobby Del Rio. They have to just put themselves out there. With social media, it's not about perfection anymore. Like if you
Mm,
go on TikTok and see the people who are going viral, it's not always the perfect person. It's people who are just talking about their journey, talking about their struggles, talking about what makes them them. So I think it's just if you don't want to put yourself out there, because not everybody wants to, they can. Everybody can, right? But if you don't want to, I always say put someone else then as the face of your brand. Your brand needs a face. Nobody buys things. I mean, there might be some brands that are successful, like Nike, they have the check mark. They figured out how to create something that makes their brand. Every time I see Nike, I know that it's Nike. Just even though I don't know who built it, I don't see a face, right? But I think that there needs to be something in play that's memorable about your brand, whether it's a person or a thing or a photo. I don't know. Yeah. So,
mm.
but the question was, can everybody create a personal brand? And yes, absolutely, if they want to.
Look, it's interesting. I didn't think you were going to answer it that way. That's why you're smarter than I am. Um, It made me think of Susan Boyle. You remember Susan Boyle? And she, she was that teacher from the UK. She's very quirky and older, and she got super famous, right? And so you're right. Like it's kind of like everyone has something that they bring to the table. So it's really just about sort of branding and marketing those elements. We got
Yeah.
Becca Brazil here for one more segment here on Open Source.